In C# and all the other programming languages, there are special symbols and combination of symbols which are used to do various tasks when coding, like performing mathematical calculations, assigning values to variables, joining data stored inside variables, comparing data inside the variables, or creating conditional statements with one or more conditions, etc. These symbols and combination of symbols are what we call operators, and you can basically consider them staples of programming world. Now, as you can see, the spec sheet has been divided into 4 main categories. First, arithmetic operators, second, assignment operators, third, comparison operators, and fourth, logical operators. Today, we are going to cover the first 2 categories. So let's get started with the first category, that is arithmetic operators. As you can see in this spec sheet, there are 7 arithmetic operators that you will find useful when you are developing a game. Now, I'm not going to look down upon you and start explaining basic arithmetic operations one by one. Let's move forward to the code so that you can see me initialize a variable and perform various arithmetic operations on it. Going back to the RPG analogy, let's suppose that you have a system in your game which will make the weapons go through the process of constant erosion. And you have shops in your various towns where the player can go to and repair or upgrade his weapons. Now, we can use this sort of arithmetic calculations to modify the weapon's hit points according to whatever parameters we want. As you can see, performing arithmetic operations on a variable is pretty simple. Of course, when things are extremely simple, it is easy to make silly mistakes. But before telling you what to be cautious of, let's go to Unity and look at the logs to confirm our output. As you can see, all the calculations in the code give the expected output. Now, back to the code, let me show you one of the mistakes that you will make as a complete beginner that at first sight might seem to be correct. So, we have the weapons HP variable that we have declared and initialized. Now, with the start method, let's perform division again. Underscore weapon HP equal to 5 divided by 2 semicolon debug.log underscore weapon HP equal to plus underscore weapon HP semicolon. Now, looking at the weapons HP equal to 5 divided by 2, you would probably expect that the answer will be 2.5. But you would be wrong if you think that. When you divide an integer with another integer, the resulting value will also be an integer, which means that the resulting value will be a whole number, which 2.5 is not. In this case, 5 divided by 2 will return 2. So let's go to Unity and check the logs. As you can see, the log says weapon HP is equal to 2. Back to the code, now let's initialize a float variable and do some calculations. Private float underscore SWOT HP equal to 0f semicolon underscore SWOT HP equal to 5 divided by 2 semicolon debug.log underscore SWOT HP equal to plus underscore SWOT HP semicolon. Now some of you might be expecting that because SWOT HP is a variable of float data type, when 5 is divided by 2, SWOT HP will be assigned with 2.5 and not 2. So let's go to Unity again and see if you're correct. As you can see, log says that weapon HP and SWOT HP are both 2. Back to the code, now let me explain what is going on. As I said before, when you divide an integer by another integer, the resulting value will be an integer. So you can take it as the only thing that matters before the assignment is done is the data type of the operands being operated on. That is, the data types of the operands 5 and 2 that are on the right side of the equal to. Now, if we convert one of those operands to float instead of int by suffixing f after it, like this, then you can see that we got an red underline under one of them where we are calculating the value for weapon HP, while we don't have this red underline where we are calculating the value of sword HP. Let's hover over it and see what it says. Cannot implicitly convert float to int. Are you missing a cast? This is because when you divide a float by an integer, the resulting value will be float. And as our variable weapons HP is an integer and not float, we can't store the resulting value of float data type inside it without converting the resulting value into an integer first. The solution to this compile time error is to typecast the resulting value to integer by surrounding the calculation with parentheses and then typing opening bracket int closing bracket in front of it like this. By doing so, we are explicitly telling the compiler to convert the resulting value, which is float, to integer, and as you see, the red underline is now gone. Now let's go back to Unity and check the logs. And as you can see, weapon HP is 2, as we are typecasting the resulting value 2.5 to integer, which is basically flooring 2.5 to 2, and then storing it to weapons HP variable. While sword HP is now 2.5, as we are dividing a float with an integer now, which makes the resulting value of float, and we can store it in sword HP as sword HP is a float variable. Man, that took a long time. One last thing to cover is that the plus operator is also used to join strings with other strings, or to join strings with data inside a variable. As some of you might have noticed, when I'm logging things to Unity console, I'm using the plus operator to join the string to a variable that I'm logging the value of. Moving forward, let's talk about assignment operators, which are used to assign values to the variable. We have already been using equal to since the first video, so skipping that, let's talk about the next 5 assignment operators together. The syntax goes like this. You have your variable on the left side of the operator, then comes the operator, which is you saying what you want to do with the variable, whether it is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or modulus. Then comes the equal to, which means that after the calculation is done, you want to assign the resulting value to the variable on the left side of the equation. And then the final part of the equation is the number you want to add, subtract, multiply, divide, or modulus with the variable on the left side during the calculation. This number can also be in form of another variable. You can basically consider this as a shorthand syntax for assigning values. Going to the code, as you can see here, the way we are doing calculation is by the syntax variable equal to variable operator something, semicolon. We can use this assignment operators instead of writing the variable name again, like this. If you ask me, I like the verbose method more as it is really easy to read through. But of course there are people that like using these assignment operators instead. If you like it, use them. But I can say for sure that you won't be seeing them in any of my videos other than this one. Well folks, that does it for today's video. There are other arithmetic and assignment operators in C# like bitwise and shift operators, but I won't be including them in this video, as I've now needed to use these operators when making a game. They are a huge topic of their own, as I would have to explain to you what binary numbers are and how math works in a base 2 numeral system as opposed to the base 10 numeral system that we use in our daily lives. You can do research on this topic on your own if you are interested. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Do comment below if you have any doubts or if you just want to share your thoughts. And as always, If you see someone struggling down in the comment section, do try and help them. Goodbye for now. This is your host VP signing off.